Hello, everybody. Welcome to the stream. My name is Evan Freiberger, and today we're going to be covering some severe weather. Hopefully, no tornadoes today. That's the hope, as always, but there's a little bit of a threat for that today. We already have a severe thunderstorm watch issued out here for northeastern Kansas, southeastern Nebraska, southwestern Iowa, and northwestern Missouri. A couple tornadoes are going to be possible. Some larger hail, maybe even some hail up to 2 inches in size is going to be possible today as well. And some damaging wind gusts somewhere in between 60 and 70 miles per hour is also going to be possible. But as you can see, we're already starting to see some storms pop up here on the southern portion of this line. One of the things that I am noticing is the storm mode is a little bit messy with these guys right now. But as you can see, we do already have a storm out there with ping pong ball sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. And that is heading towards areas like Hanover, north of Waterville as well, need to be indoors and away from windows. These storms a little bit further to the south were warned earlier, but they dropped that warning as of a couple minutes ago, so we'll be monitoring all portions of that line to see what ends up happening there. See, we got a lot of people pouring in. How you doing? How you doing? Welcome to the stream. Hopefully you guys have had a wonderful day so far. But yeah, we also have another severe thunderstorm warning over here for 60-mile-per-hour winds is the main threat. A little bit of hail could be in there as well, below quarter size. Over there north of Little River, this thing is pushing off to the north and east, and eventually will try to make its way towards Lindsborg, Falon, and Marquette there in Kansas. Also got some more storms firing even further south of that, down near Great Bend and Larned. Not severe warned, but some of them could eventually become severe warned as that approaches areas like Hutchinson, McPherson, and then we also have some storms a little bit further south of that as well. Very outflow dominated storms. Really don't think these are going to be doing too much. Could have a little bit of an isolated hail threat, maybe a damaging wind threat with these as they eventually start to move into areas like Oklahoma, like Elk City, Altus, Clinton, Memphis over there in Texas. Could eventually see some severe weather with these guys, but should be on the low end, and they really shouldn't be lasting for much longer. Most models indicate that these kind of fall apart. But speaking of the models, let's kind of check out what these storms are going to be doing today and going into tomorrow. Or not today or going into tomorrow, but today. We'll be talking about today. But yeah, as you can see, we do have at least the 21Z was doing pretty well here, and this is kind of what we're expecting. The storms are already getting started, so this is a little bit earlier than what the last model run indicated out here from the HRRR. But as you can see, overall, the story should be pretty similar to this. Some stronger cells kind of fire there where we're already seeing some of these severe thunderstorm warnings. And then those are going to kind of push off to the east. A little bit of a messy line, at least indicated here on the HRRR, which hopefully will keep the tornado risk relatively low, especially by this point, but could still be seeing some instances of some significant hail and damaging winds with some of these storms. And then those are going to continue to push off to the east by around 11 p.m. Could have some stronger thunderstorms over there near the Omaha area, down there near Topeka, and also maybe some rain, a couple isolated instances of thunder down there near Wichita, Kansas. And then that's going to continue to push off towards the east past Topeka, and then eventually try to make its way into Kansas City. But by the time we get there, I mean, we're talking this is like 3 a.m. here, folks, and it most likely will probably be lacking some instability. We'll most likely have a cap in place at this point, and these storms would be a little bit more piddly diddly than they were earlier in the morning. But you can't rule out some small instances of hail and maybe some lightning and some heavier rain, but that's about it. But the main area that we're going to be watching for that tornado risk is going to be from now until about 8 to 9 p.m. Again, these models are a little bit off here, so just kind of back up the time that you see at least on the top part of the screen, about 2 hours. We'll see. We'll see if they're kind of slower here initially, or they push off to the east. But on the northern portion of this, little interesting thing to note that the lapse rates were a little bit lower on the forecast, but those are starting to creep up. So I'm definitely monitoring that trend. I still believe these storms could happen, but it does seem like they're going to be a little bit more kind of clustered together, which should hopefully put a tampering on that tornado threat. In terms of areas of rotation with some of these more discrete, semi-discrete cells, noticing a little bit try to develop with this one south of Lynn little bit on the weak side, kind of on the broader side, but still keeping an eye on that. A little bit further up to the north, still seeing some broader areas of rotation over there near Washington and Lynn. A lot of that seems to be some sort of contamination there, but we are also keeping an eye on that as well. But, any of these cells could eventually try to produce a tornado, at least a little bit further off to the east towards Marysville, Blue Rapids, Seneca, Falls City, Auburn, Tecumseh, Wymore, Beatrice. Those are kind of the areas that I'm thinking that we're going to have to watch, at least according to the latest models and kind of what we have seen kind of develop already. Here's today's tornado risk. We got a 5% for tornadoes out there for Lincoln and Omaha. Then we got a 2% around that. So little tiny area that we got to watch. It's not going to, I don't really don't think this is going to be a long stream at max, probably like 2 to 3 hours, maybe 4 hours if we're unlucky. And the tornado threat lasts for a little bit longer than expected, but it's going to be a pretty brief threat here for tornado activity before this thing starts to transition more into just a damaging wind event, still, which could cause some tree damage. But, in terms of that tornado threat, it will be going down pretty quickly after that. But, we'll keep an eye on it to see what happens. That's the purpose of these live streams, is just to keep you guys in the know of the developing situation. We could even be talking about a 1 hour live stream, 2 hour live stream, because these things could just instantly kind of fall apart here in terms of the tornado threat. We could just mainly be talking about damaging winds and maybe some instances of large to very large hail. So we'll see. It's kind of up in the air. It's a little bit of a conditional day, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So we'll be watching it. We'll be looking at the radar, clicking, moving things, and letting you guys know what new things develop and what new storms develop and what they got with them. By the way, we just got an extension here on a severe thunderstorm warning now going into southern Nebraska. That's going to be for Wymore and Beatrice. That's going to be for quarter-sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. A little bit of a downgrade there on this storm. So not as strong as a storm as it was, but if you guys are in the path of this, just make sure that you are indoors and away from windows, and you'll be perfectly fine from that storm. Let's see. You be at 12 months right now? Yeah, I understand. Hey, man, it is tough out there. Tough out there. We also have a Paige tornado that is joining us today. She is a new storm chaser to the stream, or a new storm chaser to the scene. She's out there in Kansas right now, if I understand correctly, because she is new and she hasn't really built up an audience just yet. Hasn't really gotten that revenue stream going on her channel. She doesn't have all the fancy equipment that everybody else has. So just be patient with her. But, she's out there, and not a whole lot of none of the other chasers that we partner with are out there. So she's out there doing the grind. Hopefully, she can find some pockets of some better service with some decent views of the storm, especially if they start to become tornadic. But she's over there, I think in northeastern Kansas. We'll also be raiding her after the stream. That's my plan, at least. I've set it up beforehand, so even if I forget to say anything, it'll just automatically raid her. But yeah, in terms of the storms that have that should fire eventually up here in Nebraska, if you live in Omaha, you're probably noticing a little bit of rain start to fall on you, and that's because there is rain. There's rain showing up on the radar. Maybe a little bit of thunder might be possible, but probably just rain. Maybe some thunder out of these little redder colors that we're seeing here on the radar. That's moving generally to the east. And I'd be going into like North Omaha with some heavier, maybe a little bit of heavier rain, but I mean, it's not going to be anything that's you're barely even going to notice. It's not going to really cause any problems. But back behind that, we're watching for some initiation to still potentially be possible along this boundary here. So we're going to be keeping a close eye on that as well. Further up to the north, I do want to just note here, we do have some clusters of thunderstorms also happening over here that are slowly spreading off to the east here in South Dakota. Eventually, we'll be going towards Aberdeen, Redfield, and Miller. But yeah. In terms of like the storm chasing thing, so we got Storm Runner Media. They are in Arizona, which I don't even think they're in a thunderstorm risk today. So they're probably not going live. Connor is in Florida, I think. Which is surprising. Usually he's out and about on every little risk, but yeah, he won't be out there either. So that's two of our storm chasers. Tyler's not going to be out there today. Brett's not going to be out there. I don't even think PA Storm Trackers is going to be out there. So it's just Tornado Pagey. It's the only one left that we have to work with that at least we can afford. So yeah, that's kind of the plan today. I mean, we're mainly going to be relying on, the cameras that we have in Nebraska. The traffic cams are going to be vital today in today's stream, and we'll be trying to use them to the best of our ability. Yeah, it looks like Pagey's starting to get a little bit of a view out here, so let's kind of turn on.
A new tornado warning has been issued.
Oh, wow. Tornado warning has been issued. Where is that? Washington County, Kansas. If you live in Washington County, watch out. Could be eventually. Okay, that's probably going to be one of these storms then. Yeah. This one right here is actually starting to develop a decent area of rotation on it. That's actually a pretty strong area of rotation. Looks a little bit contaminated to me. Latest scan kind of is a little bit broader. But that one's definitely trying to wrap up there near Greenleaf and Barnes. So if you live near Greenleaf and Barnes, you guys need to be going to your safe spots as you are in a tornado warning. Again, a tornado warning is the lowest, most interior portion of your house with as many walls in between you and the outside as humanly possible, a tornado shelter, or a basement that is underground. And you guys need to be getting there immediately, as this thing does have some rotation, and it could eventually try to wrap up and drop a tornado. There we go. But yeah, so again, Greenleaf and Barnes are the ones that needs to be in their safe spots. First tornado warning of the day, I think. Yep, your alert just went off. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, we'll see what ends up happening. I mean, it's going to be mainly these cells here that I think are going to have the highest tornado probability. The ones that are going to fire back up here, I think they'll still have some tornado probability, but I really do believe that these are going to be our problem makers today if a problem does exist. They are quickly becoming outflow dominant, though, so a lot of these rotations will probably start off will probably be pretty brief. This one's a little bit more isolated, so it seems to be having an easier time tap into that shear environment. But I mean, overall, the rotation, at least on this latest scan, is a little bit weaker, but you can definitely tell that there is some in there. Thankfully, no debris ball right now, but again, Greenleaf and Barnes need to be in their safe spots. We'll be keeping a close eye on that every scan for you guys, just in case it does try to drop a tornado. I'm not exactly sure. If someone in one of my mods or someone just randomly in chat, if you could look up or just keep tabs on where Tornado Pagey announces that she is at, and let me know, because that's one of the things. What's going on here on our stream? Did I accidentally pause it? I accidentally paused it. Hold on. Yeah, it looks like she's still having connectivity issues here. Yeah, really rough connection out there. Hopefully she gets a better service there. I know she's in Kansas on one of these storms. She's in the rain, so hopefully eventually she might give us a decent view on this. But yeah, latest scan here south of Greenleaf, we still have an area of some broader circulation, not quite tight enough in my opinion to produce a tornado, but it's still got that rotation on it. So the next scan it might be a little bit tighter, so continue to respect the storm there in Kansas. Bad connection. Yeah, it's going to be off and on spotty all day. Just because she doesn't have like Starlink or anything like that. But eventually, she's hoping that she can, build her audience and, eventually, be able to afford more storm chasing equipment. I don't know why these warning polygons, I really feel like these warning polygons are a little bit thicker than usual. Not sure what happened there. So let me change that back, because I didn't change it. I didn't make them thicker. Polygon border thickness at max. Okay, so I want to turn these down just a tad to there, and then the severe thunderstorm warnings down just a tad as well. There we go. I think that's it makes the radar a little bit more readable when in a zoomed out view here. But yeah, that's the latest. We did just get a considerable severe thunderstorm warning, and that's going to be for this storm here. That's going to be for $half-sized hail and 70-mile-per-hour winds. So even if this thing doesn't produce a tornado, it's still got winds strong enough to potentially cause some damage there. 70-mile-per-hour winds can definitely cause some power outages there in Marysville. So just make sure that you guys are indoors and away from windows, as those winds are definitely going to be packing a punch. Okay, I think those polygon thickness is just a tiny bit too small. So we'll bring that up 1 and bring this up 1. Okay, yeah, that's perfect there. Also, let me let me get rid of my pin message as well. It's organized, though. What's organized? People don't like your radar Omega customizations. Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, everybody's got different opinions on what radar things look better than others. Let's see if we can find a camera. So we do have a camera potentially here. Oh, never mind. It is down for the count. Try to see if any of these cameras got a view here real quick. This one's kind of got a view, but not of a storm. What about this one near Manhattan? That one's down too. Okay, so all of the cameras in Kansas that are closest to the storm are down. Okay, and that one down the line is also down. Okay, so it happens. Hey, thank you, Easy Peasy, for the 5. I do appreciate it. Yeah, latest scan on this storm, really broad circulation here. Not really concerning. It kind of seems like that initial rotation might have just been some contamination there. Maybe a little bit of hail contamination. Yeah, I don't know. Could have been a brief little spin up there. Hard to tell, but latest scans, this is looking a lot more broad and a lot less concerning. Noticing another little area of rotation here east of Washington that I'm keeping an eye on. But that is not associated with any precip, so that's also probably contamination as well. We'll keep our eye on it, though. We'll see what ends up happening. But thankfully, those rotations are not looking concerning at all at this point. But yeah. Also, this one down here is also warned for 70 miles per hour now. That is again strong enough to produce potentially some damage there with those winds, power outages. Also, some tree limbs could be knocked down. Some smaller trees could be knocked down with this storm as well. So if you live in Lyons, just continue to be indoors and away from windows. And I think this is like some of our only clusters of severe weather. Wonder how Clay County, Kansas will look later. Let me see where Clay County is. Clay County, Kansas. Oh, you guys will look fine. I mean, the worst is past you. Well, I guess Eastern Clay County still got to pay attention. Never mind. All right, looks like Paige is getting a little bit of a better view of what's happening here. Is that loud? Why is that so loud? It's very loud. That hurt my ears. Yeah, lots of rain in the storm that she's in right now. Trying to see if we can get a little bit of a clearing of that rain and maybe see something. But as of right now, not really seeing too much, so we'll keep an eye on her. Hopefully we can get some opportunities here where the rain kind of clears out and we can kind of see and she gets good service. But yeah, she's over somewhere over here. I know that for certain. Okay, maybe a little bit more rotation, trying to reorganize over here near Barnes. No debris ball on that just yet, but keeping an eye on this. Maybe a little bit of stronger winds coming into this direction. The winds moving in this direction, though, are a little bit on the weaker side, and it's still a little bit on the broader side of rotations. So I think I saw someone say Salina, Kansas. Salina could have some storms eventually approach. Those gustier winds are going to be associated with this one. It looks like it's going to come pretty close to Salina there. So, we'll see if they'll extend that 70-mile-per-hour warning for you. We'll be keeping an eye on it. They do extend it. We will definitely bring it to your attention. Do I think Topeka is going to get hit with some high winds? It's possible. It's possible. Just depends on how the storms develop. Some of these storms that are kind of moving near Salina will eventually try to make their way up into the Topeka area. Some gustier winds could be possible. Some severe weather could still be possible as that pushes off to the east. You're going to be kind of on the line there of some of the stronger storms that can develop and some of the weaker ones. So it's kind of a toss-up for Topeka, but I would definitely be weather aware today as they approach. I think Manhattan will get hit. Could, yeah, they certainly could get hit by some of these northern storms that are kind of forming down here. There's Manhattan just off to the north and east, and eventually these will track pretty close. I just don't know the exact intensity of what the storms will be, but definitely something to keep an eye on the sky for. All of Illinois is under a slight risk for tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow's looking like another severe weather day. As of right now, the tornado risk is a little bit on the lower end. Not sure if they're going to upgrade it to a 5%, but it's probably just going to be one of those days where I'm going to be monitoring it on radar most of the day. We do have another 2% for parts of Missouri, Iowa, going into Illinois and Wisconsin. Damaging winds are going to be a problem and hail as well. Tornado threat should be relatively low, but you never know. If we get a surprise, I might go live tomorrow. Yeah, no problem. No problem. So yeah, let's come back in here, check these latest scans. We don't have the latest scan in just yet. Still not seeing any concerning rotation on these northern storms. This one over here is just about to push into Waymore, Wymore and Beatrice, Nebraska. Marysville's getting in on a little bit of that heavier rain, and that's only going to increase as this storm approaches. Wouldn't be overly concerned, at least for a tornado threat for right now, but I mean, this one definitely has been showing, some of our most rotation that we've been seeing out of these storms. So I would be weather aware for sure, but no guarantees just yet on whether or not that's going to get extended, given the fact. Okay, look at that. They just allowed this severe thunderstorm warning over there near McPherson and Lindsborg to expire. Still a thunderstorm nonetheless, though, approaching Salina. Could try to re-intensify as it gets closer, so don't let your guard down just because it's not warned yet, it could maybe get another warning eventually. Better be live when Oklahoma is in trouble. Specifically for that, I will go live. You just tell me. You just tell me GS70 and I'll go live. Man, look at this weird. What is this radar scan? Look at that. We got storm relative helicity tracks.
Has been issued.
Okay, looks like they just warned the southern rotation now, which is honestly not overly surprising. I mean, still a little bit on the weaker side, but it looks like they got that scan in quicker than us there. But you can see we do still have some broader rotation on this storm. That's going to be for Waterville, Blue Rapids. You guys need to be going into your safe spots. We now have, that's our second tornado warning there for Kansas. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Just trying to change the titles here. There we go. Yeah, some broader rotation still exists in this storm, so we're keeping a close eye on it. Waterville and Blue Rapids needs to be going into their safe spots. They're probably going to let this northern one expire, and then they're probably just going to keep a tornado warning on this one as that approaches Waterville and Blue Rapids. We'll see what ends up happening with this. I mean, the main threat today should be that hail and damaging winds, but again, you can't rule out an isolated tornado with some of these. Also noticing a little area of rotation further down to the south over there near Green as well that is trying to develop. Still relatively on the weak side, but that is pushing off to the east towards 77 and Cottage Hill. Eventually, might try to get that rotation up in a little bit stronger, so definitely got to monitor this cell here. It's in a little bit more of a discrete environment. Kind of a clustered mess up here, which should keep that tornado threat relatively low. But, the sheer environment isn't overly bad today. So even with a little bit more convergence, could still see some tornado attempts. So limiting factors, just that the shear's not overly strong. The storm mode could be a limiting factor as well. We could potentially see, okay, so there goes that northern tornado warning. If anybody that was in that tornado warning there can come out of their safe spots. Still got the southern one though for Blue Rapids, Kansas. But the limiting factor is going to be mainly storm mode and outflow dominancy. So if these storms, become a little bit more outflow dominant, we're going to end up seeing them kind of fall apart. Really, not that tornado threat will struggle to materialize really at all, and it'll be kind of a meh day, which is what we want. We want meh. We don't want bad weather. We don't want concerning tornadoes on the ground, but we'll see how it develops. We'll see how it develops. Latest scan out here, still some broader circulation in this storm. You can see we got that inflow now trying to develop a little bit better there. You can see that rain wrapping around. Stronger on this side of the storm. Decently strength winds on this side of the storm. Still some relatively broad circulation, though. It's going to need to get a little bit tighter before that drops a tornado. What about the ones below Salina? The ones below Salina, they're going to kind of pop up here and there, have some severe capabilities. I'm already noticing a storm there south of Larned that could become severe warned here in the short future. But you can really see that this outflow boundary is extending quite quickly out in front of these storms. And so, they're going to kind of pulsate in between non-severe and severe. So some hail could be possible. Some, damaging winds of up to 60 miles per hour could be possible. But for the most part, we're not really talking about, a big severe weather threat for you guys. I think it's mainly in the marginal. Yeah, I mean, you guys could have it seems like mostly marginal to kind of slight risk of severe weather down there. So, quarter-sized hail to 0.5-inch hail can't be ruled out in some damaging winds. Sirens going off on that tornado warning. Yeah. It's like Tornado Pagey is starting to get starting to clear out of the rain a little bit. See, there's something off in the distance. Is that a mesocyclone there? Or is it just Scud? Stay tuned to find out. Yeah, there's something off on the right side there. I think she's getting out ahead of the storm, though, so whatever that circulation is, it should be wrapped in the rain. We'll keep a close eye on it, though. Yeah, let's come back down here further and checking on this storm in the latest scan here. Maybe a little bit more tighter circulation there. Still not quite at that threshold of a tornado just yet, but I mean, it's starting to get a little bit closer. You can see that rotation is starting to get a little bit tighter there. Also noticing some subtle rotation over there near Barnes, trying to redevelop on that northern cell. But this one down here, as you can tell, we got those lighter greens that is indicating some stronger winds going towards the radar, and we have those lighter reds starting to... Bro, what is going on in chat? Why is there so many spammers? Sorry. But yeah, we got some broader rotation with this storm. You see, we still have some grays in between, but right in this little pocket here, we do have an area of some weaker, tight circulation trying to develop there, and we're definitely going to be keeping a close eye on that. Again, if you're just now tuning in, we have a tornado warning here in Kansas, and that's going to be for Waterville and Blue Rapids, Kansas. Well, that needs to be in their safe spots right now. Okay, looks like we also just got a severe thunderstorm warning down here for 1-inch hail. Let's see, 1-inch hail. That's okay. Please don't turn on subscriber only mode. Just keep on blocking them when they come in, or turn on slow mode with like a couple seconds, 1 or 2 seconds, just so they can't spam like constantly. But yeah, Lewis, Belpre, Maxville, St. John are going to be under the severe thunderstorm warning. So just watch out. Looks like that little area of hail would be located here just to the north of Lewis, and that is slowly moving to the north and east. So just watch out there north of Belpre. Check back down here in the panhandle of Texas, where we still got storms, outflow dominant out here, pushing off to the east towards Wheeler and Shamrock, Clarendon as well. Do we have any updates on where Tornado Pagey is? She's got a view of something back there. I just don't know what it is. I knew which storm she was on. That would be helpful. Definitely got to get a way to communicate with her. Last time she went into her chat, she was in Marysville. Okay, so she's up here on the northern portion of this. She's probably deciding whether or not she wants to go to the south or continue off to the east. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. So she's just north of that tornado warning. Okay, latest scan. Looks like that rotation is starting to fall apart a little bit here. Still have some broader rotation in there, but those greens are becoming a little bit more diffuse. That tight area of circulation is getting a little weaker. Still not seeing a debris ball, so I still don't think this tornado warned storm is on the ground right now. This one up here is looking interesting. I don't think that that's legitimate, though. Yeah, we're getting a lot of weird contamination with this radar. You can really see something is going on. Either this radar is broken or what. I'm not really sure. Yeah, on this radar, there's nothing there, so just had to double check. Change my title back to one tornado warning in Kansas. There we go. And rain and cool 70s yesterday with excessive heat warning today. Wow. Nothing on X. Yeah, I don't think there's going to be a tornado on this one. I mean, it's had some instances of some tighter rotation, but relatively on the weaker side of things. So I don't think a tornado's dropped out of this sucker just yet, but I am still noticing some isolated spots of rotation to the south with some of these developing cells. And these ones are a little bit more discreet. Might have to keep an eye for like the southern Charlie storm today because, you know, the sheer environment pretty much all in this area is going to be favorable for maybe a tornado or two. So we'll be keeping an eye on it. Primed environment? No, this is as prime as the environment will be for tornadoes right now. You know, as these storms can be discrete or semi-discrete. If they get too outflow dominant, we're going to see that tornado risk kind of drop off a cliff here. Hello, Leah. Welcome. Welcome to the chat. It's like 6 bots spamming. No, I think it's just one person who keeps on making a new account really quick and then joining and then spamming. Where's the outflow boundary? Oh, it's kind of hard to tell. Let's see if we can get some sort of view. I would assume it's still back into this area. So it's still kind of located at least where some of these rotations are indicated here on radar. So, you know, we'll see what ends up happening with it. I mean, the latest scan is maybe indicating a little bit stronger rotation there. South and east of Barnes starting to re-intensify a little bit. And also this rotation starting to get a little bit tighter there south and west of Cottage Hill as well. Any new updates on Ernesto? It's a hurricane. But no major track updates just yet, although Nova Scotia is now in the cone of uncertainty, but that is still remaining a pretty low probability for a direct landfall there. Oh, wow. Rain's really starting to clear out here on Tornado Pagey's stream. See the cloud tops of the storms in the distance, a little bit of blue sky back there as well, indicating a little bit more of an unstable environment out in front of this storm. A lot of that latent heat is working down into the lower part of the atmosphere, kind of bubbling up some convection out here. Less clouds you have, sometimes you'll see some Better attempts at initiations, which is what we're seeing right now currently in Kansas and southern Nebraska. Yeah, it looks like that rotation is approaching Waterville, so please continue to be in your safe spots there. Yeah, we also have to see what these storms can do in Nebraska. You know, if they upscale immediately, though, like the models are showing, kind of like what's happening down here to the south, there's still going to be a chance for a tornado, but it's going to be on the lower end of things. You know, with a lot of clusters like this in this kind of environment, you know, it's going to be hard for these storms to kind of get vented here. So it's very likely that we could see these things go outflow dominant pretty quickly. We're seeing some initial attempts here of rotation, but eventually we should start to see those kind of die off. But, you know, we'll see what happens up there in Nebraska. Still definitely a possibility over there near Omaha for some severe weather. But initially, that's going to be where that tornado threat's going to be the highest before these kind of become outflow dominant. Clock's frozen. Let me fix that. There we go. It'll happen from time to time. Also, a little update on the severe thunderstorm warning further off to the north. We got quarter-sized hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds. Hail with the storm is located here into the pink. Going to be heading up towards Beatrice. Guys need to be indoors and away from windows. Also, Rockford and Feely could get some of that hail and damaging winds there with that storm. Over here near Maryville, still expecting upwards to 70-mile-per-hour winds heading towards you guys. So just continue to be indoors and away from windows there. Get a new clock. I've been trying. This is my second clock I've tried, and they all do the same thing. So I'm not really sure what is happening there. Thank you for covering severe weather, but it looks like the race you're going to will just be rain all day. Interesting. Hopefully your race doesn't get canceled. An analog clock? Yeah, there we go. Well, let's get a clock camera and buy like a real clock. That'll solve the problem. Yeah, still a little area of rotation over here, south and west of Cottage Hill. Still not seeing any tornado on the ground, thankfully, with that. Still weak circulation with that one. And this rotation is trying to recycle, but it's very broad right now. Not really expecting it to do much more than that. At least right now. We'll keep an eye on it. Could try to tighten up briefly. We'll see. It's just going to be hard for that storm to really do much. And then also a little update over here with this storm south and west of Beatrice. There's still a little bit of stronger winds with this, but not seeing any rotation. Still mainly a damaging wind threat. Let's come back down here. With this storm that had a little bit more convection earlier, a little bit more heavier precipitation, still some decent heavy precipitation there, but nothing to kind of push this warning a little bit more intense. I mean, we're still only talking about quarter-sized hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds. Just make sure you're indoors and away from windows. You might hear some plinks here and there from that hail, but that's about it. Also, a little update here for Amarillo, Texas. These storms are currently still pretty weak and starting to lose intensity there. Maybe a little bit of lightning and some small hail still possible south of Canyon, Texas. Also got another little severe thunderstorm warning popped up over here in between Seminole and La Mesa. Right there. Ping pong ball sized hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds. This little guy's got the most severe weather on it out of everywhere. Little storm, but big impacts. Anybody live in St. Louis? Well, I doubt there is anybody here that lives in St. Louis right now. Except for you, maybe. Small but tough. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, still waiting on that latest scan to come in here with this tornado warning. This line of storms is supposed to go to your home. Interesting. Just make sure you're weather aware there. It looks like Tornado Pagey's got a good view on this thing now. Listen in for a moment. That kind of looks like a little wall cloud tucked back in there. A wall cloud or just some scud, it's hard to tell. Oh, little flash of lightning there. covering this and going live. Yeah, no problem.
Alright, I think after this we're gonna have to go east.
Blue Rapids?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I was thinking.
Something back in there. There's no funnel on it. And this is Tornado Paigey. She's live on YouTube. Go check her out. Show her some love if you can. But yeah, a little bit of a lowering there. Not sure if that's a wall cloud or not. They seem to be near Blue Rapids. So we'll see. Wolf, there's something in there. Yeah, latest scan, there's still a little area of rotation, still generally on the weak side here, heading towards Waterville. Still keeping an eye on it, still want Waterville to be in their safe spots. Areas south of Barnes, though, are good to go. This area of rotation to its south is starting to get a lot weaker. It's starting to become a mess. We just got another severe thunderstorm warning on this. Wow, lime-sized hail now being warned here in southern Nebraska. Heading up to Beatrice and Rockford. Watch out, that's 2-inch sized hail. So imagine limes falling from the sky. And that's what you guys are going to be getting with this storm. So make sure that you are getting indoors and away from windows. That's the kind of hail that can put some cracks into your windshield and cause some window damage. Maybe even a little bit of roof damage. Definitely don't want to be caught outside with this storm. Again, that lime-sized hail is nothing to play with there. 60-mile-per-hour winds are also possible. Kansas weather. Yeah, we got Kansas weather. We got a tornado warning here in northeastern Kansas right now. So far, so good. We haven't had any confirmed tornado reports with this just yet. We've had little areas, sometimes where the rotation has been a little bit stronger than other times. And we actually got a storm chaser close by. Not sure just exactly how close, but this is Paigey Tornado, who is on the storm right now. A little bit of an interesting thing hanging down from under there. Yes, 2-inch hail is destructive. Can break windows, crack windows, cause hail damage. So if you live over there near Beatrice, Nebraska, make sure you are taking that seriously. A lot of rain in the storm. I was expecting to hear a little bit more hail, but definitely some gustier winds exist in this as well. You kind of see that rain move across the stream at the screen at times. We'll keep an eye on it. I'm glad they're getting some spots, areas of service there. I see female chaser out there. Yeah, I mean, there's not that many. I mean, there's a lot of female chasers, but not that many that actually go live. Starting to notice maybe a little area of rotation starting to develop here south of Waterville. You see those greens are picking up there, and those reds are as well. Still seeing some grays in between, indicating some broader circulation. This one over here really seems to be mainly just some gustier winds on the south side. Still a little bit of movement of the air out in front of it, but definitely going to keep an eye on this new developing circulation. This one might be occluding and dying, and then this one could kind of take precedence here. So we'll be keeping an eye on that for Blue Rapids. Still continue to be in your safe spots, though. Let's go see if those storms over in Nebraska are starting to get started yet. And you can see there's some initiation attempts over there in between Grand Island and Columbus. Also a little bit of a rogue storm out here south of Answorth, kind of pushing off to the east. A little bit of hail might be in there as well in the pink. Come check back in on this guy over here between Larned and St. John. Still looking good. Still 1-inch hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds. No new surprises there. And let's come back over here near Ashmore, Texas, where we have a severe thunderstorm warning. Looks like that hail is kind of pushing still off generally to the north.
A new tornado
should go
warning
just to the east
has
of
been issued.
Asheville. Looks like I guess got a tornado warning for this storm. That's interesting. Little area of rotation there, but we got a lot of hail contamination there, so it's going to be kind of hard to tell just how strong that rotation is on radar. A little bit of a cleaner scan. Yeah, not super strong rotation. Let's go over to storm relative velocities. Yeah, definitely on the weaker side of things, but we should watch it just to make sure. This is going to be for Blue Springs, Rockford, Philly, and Virginia here in Nebraska. You guys now need to be in your safe spots there as the storm approaches. Just changing my title here really quick. Go. Perfect. Hello, hello, welcome. Hopefully you're doing all right. Why did they warn that? There's a little bit of rotation in there, you know. It's not super strong rotation. I mean, it's not personally at my level of concern, especially with that, with the Reds being so weak. You can see they're very faded here. But we are a little bit far away from this storm on the radar, so we might be getting some reports of some rotation within the storm that we just don't have access to. Yes, absolutely. Respect the polygons. And look at the rotation on this thing from far. Near the surface, though, not super impressive here. I mean, still some weaker circulations underneath, nearer to the surface here, near Waterville and south of Waterville. Still seeing those grays in between, indicating some broader circulation. So still relatively on the weaker side with that southern tornado warning. Let me see if there's any storm reports on Twitter. Try Storm Kansas. See if that brings up anything. Yeah, no real decent photos, at least on Twitter, of these storms. Let me check Nebraska. Yeah, not a whole lot of there either. So we'll be keeping an eye on it. If any reports do come in, at least on social media, we'll try to be all over it. Yeah, we just got a new scan in with these storms. Generally disorganized rotation still, maybe a little bit trying to organize over there near Cottage Hill. But looking more outflow dominant there. Also noticing that might be an outflow boundary there as well. So we might be seeing that outflow boundary kind of start to surge out in front of these things. Let's go check back in with this one. Yeah, rotation still generally weak with this storm. You can see those reds are almost completely disappearing, meaning this is mainly just a damaging wind threat now. But we're going to be monitoring the backside of this storm and potentially this one down over here as well for some new areas of rotation. Still want Rockford, Virginia, Philly, and Blue Springs to continue to be in their safe spots, but this is mainly just a hail and damaging wind threat. Again, still potentially 2-inch size hail in that storm. Let me see if we got any cameras in the Nebraska area near this tornado warning. We just might. Let me double check on that. No, we got some to the north and east of Lincoln, just too far north. Yeah, we don't have anything in direct path of this. Just double check the Nebraska cams. I think the Nebraska traffic cams are picture cams for the most part. Yeah, no picture cams near this storm. Chaser is seeing a rotating wall cloud. Okay. Thank you for the report. Nesto is strengthening. Yeah, it's going to continue to do that for a while. Thankfully, it's out over the ocean right now, and I'm hoping it doesn't make a direct landfall there in Bermuda. As we just got that latest scan in again. Yeah, not on the velocities, though, just yet. Will I go live for Bermuda? I don't know. Probably not. I don't think they speak English. I'm not sure. They gotta speak English, so I don't know how to speak anything else. They gotta have YouTube. They have 63,000 people in Bermuda that speak English. Does Bermuda have YouTube? No, nothing on YouTube at least indicating that they have it. Not sure. I'll have to do a little bit more research on the downtime. Well, interesting feature here on Pagey's view. Let's listen in.
But they would say no pictures.
Not really sure what that is. It's like just good to me.
Whatever you think. Because that one made.
No, I don't think so. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's done. Especially because the good environment was forecasted to be there anyway.
Right.
I think it's just good.
I think I'm
Looked more interesting in the smaller picture, but I don't think that that's anything of concern there. Okay, so we did just get the newest velocity scans. Looks like these areas of rotations are starting to die off. Definitely not as strong as they were. Still want Blue Rapids to be in their safe spots. This storm does have a history of cycling at the very least. Also seems to be some hail starting to pop up on the backside, about to head into not into Cottage Hill, into Waterville there. Further down to the south, we have an area of broader circulation here, south of Cottage Hill. Not looking particularly concerning at this moment, but still keeping an eye on it. Let's go check back over here in Nebraska. See if we got the latest scan on this guy. And yeah, rotation is still pretty weak up here in Nebraska, heading towards Rockford, Virginia, and Philly. And still not concerned at all about a tornado dropping in the immediate moment here, but definitely keeping an eye to see if there's going to be strengthening. But you can see those reds are starting to disappear. Still have those lighter greens in play, which is indicating that we do have some stronger winds with this storm heading into Rockford now, and then down the line, Philly and Virginia. But in terms of actually strong rotation, just not anything to really note on that storm anymore. It seems like it was a brief circulation, but we'll see if it'll try to reorganize. Still want everybody in their safe spots up there. See you later, help. Thank you for helping out for a little bit. But yeah, a lot of people have been saying like Bermuda could get an impact, and it's possible, but it's actually a very low chance. Even if the storm comes close to it, it's a very small island. The worst impact from the storm would be from like the inner eye wall. And the chances of that happening, at least right now, are pretty slim, even though they're like in the center of the cone. It's just such a small island. It would take a lot of unluckiness to get a direct hit in Bermuda. Thanks for being here. Yeah, no problem. No problem. Glad we could be of service. Thankfully, we don't have anything to report as in terms of confirmed tornadoes. Yeah, these rotations are continuing to die off. I have a feeling we're going to see this tornado warning expire here shortly. This one still looks interesting down here. Still some broader circulations, but it just has that telltale look of an outflow dominant storm right now. You can see we got a lot of storm mergers, one after the other here. Got a couple little supercellular structures in there. Oh, there goes that tornado warning. So Blue Rapids can now come out of their safe spots here in Kansas. So now we just have this tornado warning up here in Nebraska. Oh, by the way, huge shout out to Lady J. I saw it, but I totally forgot to thank you. But you have, and also GS70 Stealth. You two have both gifted memberships earlier in the stream, and I do appreciate that. Huge shout out to you guys. Again, super helpful to the channel, especially during these slow times. So thank you for gifting 5 memberships, and thank you, Lady J, for gifting 10 memberships thus far. I do appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, they'll probably let this one expire here shortly as well. Unless we start to see some more convincing rotation pop up here on radar, but there's just nothing on it right now. This is mainly just gustier winds. Just some gustier winds. So yeah, these storms have upscaled here quite quickly, which is, good, because if we would have had more discrete cells, that tornado threat would have been going a little bit more intense. I mean, we still got to watch some of these storms, especially the ones closer to the southern side of some of these guys. This one seems a little bit outflow dominant, but it still might try to do a brief spin up, so I'm still keeping an eye on it. Does seem to have a little bit of some broader circulation in there still. Could give an update on some of these other severe thunderstorm warnings. We still have this severe thunderstorm warning pushing off towards St. John's. Still quarter-sized hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds. Still got this one over here in Texas, which is still going. The little storm that could. It does seem like that hail, though, has really dropped off the map here. Mainly probably some gustier winds in there. I'd be very surprised if there was ping pong ball sized hail in there. $1,000 not cover for migraine injections. Oh, this is so dumb. It's like, why don't they cover it? Like, what is their criteria? I'm sorry. That sucks. But yeah, I mean, we kind of just, honestly, we're now waiting for these storms over there near Columbus. I'm not sure if any of these storms are going to be able to do the tornado. I'll be honest, just very messy. We just don't have that kind of shear environment that's going to be able to cut through all this mess and still be able to produce tornadoes. So I really do think, as long as these Southern Charlies don't do anything, which, there's still a possibility of that, we might not see a tornado today. We'll see. Still monitoring these storms down here. But these ones back in this cluster here are definitely going to struggle. Hey, thank you so much, Lady J, for a $50 donation. Holy moly. That is a lot of money to help keeps the lights on. Thank you so much. I do appreciate that. That is a huge amount of money, and that goes very, very far. Thank you. That's a lot of money. Thank you. I will use that to buy, I don't know, electricity. We'll use it to buy Chaz some treats. We'll use it to buy food and all that kind of stuff. So thank you so much. Yeah, this one's going to expire here shortly. We're going to get unless this area of circulation down here on the southern portion of this storm starts to get a little bit more organized. As you can see, it's still got that kind of bowy look here. When you get a kind of like a bow look to the storm on that leading edge, that is usually an outflow boundary. You can still have some rotations embedded in there, but they're usually very brief. And they usually don't produce tornadoes when they look like that. So we got a pretty outflow dominant southern portion of this storm as well. So I'm not overly concerned about any of these areas in Kansas right now, mainly just heavier rain, half-dollar sized hail. Might not even be much of a problem here. I mean, I'm not really seeing too many areas of elevated, at least in terms of, I mean, man, these cloud tops, especially this one to the south, is really bubbling up there. This is a very organized storm on the southern portion of this, at least in terms of its cloud tops. So it might still be worth watching it. We'll see. They can get a little bit, these southern end storms are going to have the best ability here to kind of tap into that moisture uninterrupted. And with the cloud tops that high, it'll probably be able to reach into some of that shear environment, start to spin a little bit. So definitely worth continuing to watch for that. Just got a new severe thunderstorm warning over here near Great Bend, Kansas. 60-mile-per-hour winds. And that is kind of just popped up here in the last couple of minutes, and that's about to it's going to generally travel to the east-northeast towards 156. A little bit of a flooding threat could happen with these storms as well. Also seeing some of that convection bubble all the way down into southern Kansas and also into northern Oklahoma here, where we have some spotty thunderstorms and showers existing there as well. They also let that severe thunderstorm warning in Texas expire. Very surprised your insurance covers migraines injections. It's like the generic version. Interesting. And there goes that tornado warning in Nebraska, which is not surprising. So yeah, a little bit of a downtime here. We'll see if it lasts. We will see if it lasts. My insurance doesn't cover migraines because I don't have any. I cover my migraines if I have them with Advil purchases. Sometimes Advil just doesn't do it. What are migraine injections? I think, does that like stop future migraines? It's kind of interesting. I've never heard of that before. 50-50 with the semi-discrete mode. Well, we don't have a semi-discrete mode anymore. The only discrete storms we could possibly have is probably gonna be this one. As long as we don't get any more convection to the south, it might try to rotate. Come over to the velocities. That's the one with this broad circulation. We might get a tornado warning for this if that tries to organize a little bit more. You see, it is trying to form a little bit of an inflow there on the southern side of it. We'll see. I think the only one that's really going to be able to do it is going to be on the southern end, most likely. Everything else is probably going to get rained out pretty quick. Let's go see if these storms are developing in Nebraska near the Omaha area yet. Kind of see what the trend is on these. They're trying to, but I have a feeling that this convection that came through earlier is really going to screw up the tornado chance further north. I really just think it's going to be these storms that are going to have the ability to become tornadic, and it's pretty conditional. Hey, thank you, JP27, for being a member for 6 whole months. Thank you so much. What is a migraine? That's your question. It's a very intense headache. And it could be intense enough to like cause you to like slur your speech a little bit. It can be intense enough to blur your vision a little bit. It could be intense enough to cause you to get nauseous. They're very intense. Yeah, I think the weirdest thing about migraines is the auroras, I think is what they're called. It's basically you'll get like a little line in your vision. I used to get those preceding some of my headaches or migraines when I was younger. And at least it's a warning sign, but it's very weird to get like a little thing pop up in your vision sometimes. Auras, yeah. For always being here from Northeast Kansas. Yeah, no problem. Thank you for the 5. Sharks? Is that right? Sorry. Your screen name, I guess it's Sharks. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, migraines are the worst. Ugh. I do not like them when they happen. I really hope you don't I hope those migraine injections help you out. I really do. Latest scans, though, on these latest warnings on these storms, they did just pop a 70-mile-per-hour wind warning on this storm. Oldsburg, Westmoreland all need to be indoors and away from windows as that approaches. And we're keeping an eye on this one. I mean, still looking a little bit outflow dominant, but we're watching to see if any tighter circulations will develop here, mainly on this portion of the storm. Anything that forms back down in this region could also try to do something, because you can really see that outflow boundary here. But as long as that outflow boundary kind of just jogs a little bit to the east of this storm, it's not going to be able to produce a tornado. So we'll see. Any little instance where it can tap into some of that instability that's out there. I mean, we got plenty of instability that's out in front of these storms. It's just whether or not that outflow boundary cuts off at least the updraft's ability to kind of tap into some of that warmer and moist air. So we'll see. You don't want a tornado tomorrow. Well, at least according to the SPC, tornado chances are looking pretty slim tomorrow. I do want to kind of look at the models for tomorrow, see what they're looking like. I haven't really checked on the latest models for tomorrow. I think it's mainly going to be a line of storms, most likely predominantly outflow dominant. Damaging winds could be possible. So yeah, a little bit of spotty convection there. Does anything form on the backside? Yeah. So the main threat for tomorrow is going to be like later in the day. So we could get some storms pop up in kind of the same regions as, what we're going to be seeing later today. Over there near Iowa, going in northern Missouri, got to watch that. That could form into a little bit of an MCS. That could potentially bring some damaging winds there. Let me see what the Cape environment is out in front of this guy. Service base Cape. Yeah, decent amount of instability there. For sure, especially over there near Kansas City. We'll look at the 500 millibar winds are definitely looking a little bit spicy. Lower level winds, not so much. Just kind of push this forward in time, see if those pick up with that MCS forming. Yeah, as that MCS starts to form, you can see those lower level winds start to pick up there in the greens and light blues near Quincy. Could see a little bit of an elevated tornado threat along that. So if we do get a 5%, it'll probably be something like this. And associated with that MCS. Could see some stronger winds with that. Maybe some instances of some 70 and maybe a little bit higher than 70-mile-per-hour winds. Let me see, just depending on how intense it is. Let me just double check to see what the, at least what the latest surface winds are going to look like with that thing. At least the higher end of that. Wait, we're going to have to go back over to 18Z. Just want to check in on it really quick. It comes out full of dominant, wind threat starts to drop off, then we get those storms form. I mean, that could be particularly intense. There on the Iowa and northern Missouri border there. I mean, when you start to see those colors on this map, that can indicate that you could have some significant winds. It's going to be a pretty small and isolated area, but, maybe can't even rule out a little bit of an upgrade on the winds tomorrow to a hash risk and also maybe a 5% for tornadoes somewhere in this area here. Definitely something to keep an eye on. Definitely going to be monitoring that. A little bit of a conditional threat if those storms can even get started in the first place, but yeah, starting to see a little bit more tightening of the circulation here north of Oldsburg. I do think we're dealing with a developing circulation here. Seems to kind of be in the clear air. Let me just double check. No. I mean, that is an area of potentially some legitimate rotation there. Might be dealing with a little bit of contamination here, but would not surprise me if there was some developing circulation. We might get a tornado warning on that. Saw a tornado warning just a bit ago. Yeah, we did have a couple of tornado warnings with some of these storms, but they've all been allowed to expire. Hey, thank you, GS70 Stealth, for another 5 gifted memberships. Thank you so much. If you guys get a membership from GS70 Stealth, make sure you're thanking her in chat. And thank you so much. Again, it's very helpful to the channel. I mean, during these off times, things get a little slow. So it does go a long way. I do appreciate that. Check out the membership things. Okay, sorry, I might have missed something in chat. No, Nope, not seeing anything that I missed in chat. We'll see what happens. This is kind of what you would expect out of a storm like this, though, to just upscales immediately, just for future reference. You know, if you're ever looking at the radar and you see a couple discrete cells, you know you got like a tornado risk for the day, and then they just kind of glob up like this almost immediately. Then typically that tornado threat starts to drop off. Let's go see what Pagey Tornado is, our Tornado Pagey is up to. Listen in for a little bit.
A new tornado warning has been issued.
Yeah.
I feel like every time we come over to her view, we get a new tornado warning. Maybe we got to stop doing that. Yeah, we got a new tornado warning for this area of rotation down here that we were just talking about. Latest scans looking a little bit more broad, but there is some tighter circulation over here north of Olsberg, pushing off to the east. That's going to be going towards 99 and Blaine here in northern Kansas. Make sure you guys are going into your safe spots there. Again, it's the lowest, most interior room of your house. As many walls in between you and the outside as humanly possible. A tornado shelter or a basement that's underground. New mesoscale discussion. Let's go look at that. So looks like they're saying risk for large hail and damaging wind gusts and possibly a tornado continues to evolve. But yeah, it looks like they're mainly concerned about the risk for large hail and damaging winds with a smaller chance for a tornado there. But again, it's going to be mainly isolated in this area. This threat for tornadoes will not last much longer, I'll tell you that. But any one of these southern cells could potentially try to do something a little sneaky. So we'll keep an eye on it. Yeah, we're still no new radar velocity scan. Let's go over some of these severe thunderstorm warnings again. So we still got this guy up here that is continuing to kind of provide a little bit of a gust front here. You can see that located right here in this area on the velocities. 60-mile-per-hour winds on quarter-sized hail are going to be possible with this near Syracuse and Tecumseh. So just watch out. That is coming your way there in Nebraska. Further down to the south, no severe warnings on any of these guys. In this area, these will eventually kind of track in this direction towards like Auburn, near Falls City, those areas. Some heavier rain, maybe even some severe weather could still be possible with this portion of the line. Over here near Marysville, we are still talking about half-dollar-sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. It is generally pushing to the east. Eventually, it's going to try to make it over there towards Seneca and Berwick, so keep an eye on that. And then this one to the south is still warned for 70 miles per hour. Those damaging wind gusts are going to be here and along this area. Yeah, latest scan here is still indicating that we have some rotation with this storm. A little bit blocky of a view here, indicating that we probably have some contamination ongoing with this storm. But there's certainly some rotation in there. I wish we had some sort of a camera view on this. We might. Let me just double check to see. Does anybody know where Pagey Tornado is? Do we have any updates on that? Wonder if she's there. She's coming out of that rain a little bit more. Let me go check our traffic cams too, just to make sure there's nothing down the line here that just happens to be working again. Man, all of the cameras in the path of this storm on the traffic cams are just not working. Oh, wow. Look at that picture, though. From this picture cam, you can see the cloud tops, at least, from the storms. That's pretty cool. She is in her car. Okay, thank you for the update. That's super helpful. Okay. How many memberships have Lady J is gifted 10 memberships today, believe it or not, and a $50 donation, which is just wild. Yeah, latest scan with this storm still indicating very blocky presentation here. You know, if you got this kind of rotation and it was in this area instead of being in this area, you see how fat that is, indicating that this storm's been eating a lot of instability. But also, it's just very, very wide. Very wide area of rotation, which indicates that we are still dealing with some sort of contamination. You can see a lot of that rotation is in this area of the storm that's in the inflow. So, you know, not really sure how much rotation is legitimately in this storm, but it's definitely still rotating there north of Olsberg, heading off north of Blaine, approaching, I think that's a Route 99. Hard to tell. Also, we got an extension of this severe thunderstorm warning down here for Ellsworth. That's going to be for 60-mile-per-hour winds pushing generally to the northeast. If you guys are down the line of that in Ellsworth, Kannapolis, just be indoors and away from windows, and you'll be A-okay from that one. And thank you, Michael, for gifting 5 memberships. Thank you so much. You guys are being extremely generous today, and I do appreciate it. Yeah, now we wait. Now we wait for the latest radar scan to come in. We'll see what it says. I mean, on the correlation coefficient, I'm not seeing any debris balls out there. But, you know, if we actually had one of those tighter areas of circulation, there would most likely be a debris ball under there in some point. But we're just not seeing that. I mean, this amount of rotation, if it's tight and non-contaminated, would usually produce a tornado or be very close to producing a tornado. Hopefully we can get a cleaner image of this storm. Wonder what this looks like from a farther away radar. I also wish we had this radar over here north of Kansas City. That would have also been helpful to compare scans. Yeah, from far away, you can see there's definitely some rotation in this area higher up in the storm. Near the surface, we've got a contaminated view of the thing. We'll see what ends up happening. Still not any real reports, not a whole lot of reports coming in on social media, given the kind of, I wouldn't say uneventful, but definitely a lot of these storms are on the weaker end of the spectrum, except for this one, and we don't have many of them. We only have a couple of them out there, so not expecting a whole bunch of reports to start moving in. Hey, look at this. A little bit of convection starting to happen over here near Columbus and Schuler and David City. So these storms are trying to get their acts together. Remember, we're monitoring these storms for the threat down the line for Omaha, Nebraska. And they are starting to get their act together. No rotation on them, but little baby storms out there, little baby storm party happening. You live in North Missouri? Yeah, no problem. Yeah, your main day is going to be probably tomorrow in northern Missouri. Tonight, the storm should be in the process of dying by the time. Again, it's going to be a pretty brief threat. There could still be some severe wind gusts with these storms as they push off to the east in northwestern Missouri. But tomorrow should be interesting as well, and probably for a lot more folks in the Missouri area. Some stronger winds up there. Also could see a tornado threat in this area, in that portion of Missouri. Nocturnal atoms. Oh, you meant storms. Gotcha. Let's check on the latest scans here. Yeah, this looks a little bit more convincing for rotation there. Still not seeing a debris ball on this thing, though. So still not a tornado on the ground, but north of Olsburg, in and along 99, still need to be in their safe spots here in Kansas. I don't think this area of Kansas is overly populated. Let me just zoom in here. There's probably a couple of houses, right? Yeah, there are a couple of houses out here, though. So if you're in any of those houses there north and east of Olsburg, just make sure that you are continuing to be in your safe spots. Does Topeka and Kansas City, Kansas need to worry about tornadoes tonight? I don't think so. No, I think you guys could get some severe weather out of this, but I'm not expecting anything like tornadic for you guys. Storm should be on their last dying breaths as they push through your area. Definitely some rain and some thunder, though, could be possible. Is Wisconsin going to see bad storms? It's possible tomorrow, not today, though. Visual on ground east of Beatrice. From who? There's something on the ground. It's not a tornado. Well, I guess it could be like a land spout. See you later, Nancy. Thank you for tuning in. I do appreciate it. And that's the latest. Let's see if we got that new radar scan in. Yeah. Still some pretty outflow dominated part of the storm. Still not seeing any areas of, consolidated tight rotation. Maybe a little bit of something there, maybe a little bit of something there. No debris ball up on any of those parts. This part does seem to be in the clear air of the storm a little bit, but yeah, still a little bit on that broad side of things, and still pretty outflow dominant. You can really see this part bowing out there. That's those winds and that cooler air kind of surging out in front of the storm still. No problem. Will you be okay in Ohio this week? You should be. I mean, there's a small chance for severe weather for you guys as of now. Obviously, that could get upgraded eventually, but there is a little bit of a there is a little bit of a marginal risk, not tomorrow, but the day after tomorrow. Could see some severe weather anywhere from northern Alabama going into Arkansas, Missouri, parts of Kansas, Oklahoma there near Tulsa, and then Michigan, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Kentucky, West Virginia, parts of Virginia, North Carolina, and Tennessee could also see some severe weather, but we'll see how that threat develops. I just don't think it's going to be anything too crazy. It's most likely going to be on the weaker side of things. Still no new scan yet with this storm. It's like Tecumseh, Nebraska, though, is about to get in on some 60-mile-per-hour winds and potentially some quarter-sized hail there. So watch out. Also, Ellsworth just got this storm over here in southern Kansas. This one's still warned here for 60-mile-per-hour winds. Carnero are going to be next in line for some of those winds there. Also, we got another severe thunderstorm warning associated with this line of storms pushing towards Aberdeen. Just want to check real quick to make sure we don't. A lot of broad circulation up here south of Watonka. You have to keep an eye on that. We'll see. We shall see what that does. I'll come back up there and check on that every now and then. Man, I think Pagey's stream is really struggling here. Let me just make sure it's not me really quick. I just want to do a quick refresh. Yeah, definitely getting some struggling. There's not a whole lot of service out in this area right now. Yikes. Almost completely went down there. She is starting to get a view of something, though, so I kind of want to see if we can just get a clear picture of it. She's pulling up to some sort of storm here. Come on, service. You can do it. Yeah, there's something back in there. Look at that. A little nub back there. Wonder if she's near that tornado warned storm or not. Pagey is south of Frankfurt. Okay, so they are on the tornado warned storm there. Yeah, latest scan on this thing, area of circulation in this area has kind of died off. We do have a little area of tighter circulation in this spot. Still not seeing a debris ball there, but still keeping an eye on that. Again, Blaine, Kansas still needs to be in their safe spots. Also, maybe a little area of developing circulation back over here east of Marysville, but still on the broad side of the spectrum. Decent rain curtain, yeah. Poor service, yeah. Rural areas, the carriers for like phone carriers, they just do not prioritize you guys at all. And instead of putting more stuff in y'all's areas, more equipment and communication stuff. Oh my gosh, look at this view. Man, this would look so good. There's that area of circulation. You can kind of see it. Even with the crappy service, you can still see something back there on the left side. Kind of looks like a little mesocyclone back in there. Where are you hearing that, Tornado Explorer, and where? And she's gone again. Was on the ground. Chaser said there was one, might have lifted, but it's very low. Where? Where is this report coming from? Cell that's warmed? Yeah. Maybe. Could have just been Scud, though. I mean, Pagey was looking at it for a second. There was a little nub back there, but I'm not sure if there's a tornado or not. Unfortunately, we just don't have that great of service with her right now, but we're getting some subtle reports here that there might have been a tornado briefly on the ground. Most likely, I guess, with this circulation up here. Can't imagine that happening down in this area. No debris ball, though, popping up on radar, so can't confirm that report. It could be legitimate, or it could be just somebody calling Scud a tornado, which happens quite a bit. Chaser with the possible tornado. It's possible. But the fact that they're calling it a possible tornado means that they're not sure. So hopefully we can get some sort of confirmation on that. But yeah, I mean, not seeing a debris ball here on radar, which tornadoes don't always produce debris balls. Sometimes if they're over like a field, you won't really see it. So yeah, just continue to be in your safe spots. Yeah, that's all you need to do. We'll try to get more information on that report. I'll do a search here on Twitter. They definitely weren't confident about it enough to make a report of it, I don't think, because we haven't gotten an upgrade here on our warning. Yeah, I'm seeing a picture of it. That could very well have been a tornado there. Near west of Wheaton, Kansas. I'm gonna retweet it here on Twitter. It looks like it's on the ground, but it could also be a hill blocking the view, because that looks very similar to the nub we saw from Pagey's perspective. Let me see if I can go all the way back. Yeah, that thing right there in the center of the screen. Kind of looks just like that. That it was either after it lifted, or maybe there's a hill there that made it look like there was a tornado on the ground. It's kind of hard to tell. I mean, it looks like one, but it also looks like there's some hills in the way, so hard to tell. I mean, there was a little tight area of circulation back in this area for a brief moment, right in that area, so it wouldn't overly surprise me, I guess. No debris balls, so we definitely would not have been able to confirm that on radar, but just continue to be in your safe spots. This thing might have had a tornado there, and that's going to be heading north of Blaine. Just hard to 100% confirm it. Kind of looks like it was, though.
This tornado warning has been upgraded.
There we go. Looks like that report has made it in, so we now have a confirmed tornado on the ground. Is it still on the ground? No idea. It's not showing up on the correlation coefficient, so it's kind of hard to tell. Rotation doesn't look nearly as tight in that area. If it was one, it was very, very brief. Potentially, I don't know. But the fact that they confirmed it means that they must have gotten a new report in of it still on the ground. Oh, wait. Weather spotters confirmed tornado at 7:25. Train spotters reported a tornado on the ground, and it lasted for 5 minutes, meaning that it lifted. So I don't know why they observed it if it's lifted. I guess they're just saying that it's been on, or it was on the ground at some point. My marking has confirmed if it lifted. Don't ask me. I mean, we might have another report. I don't know. All I know is that what I can see on radar, not seeing debris ball on there. But that's their wording here. So it is what it is. Latest up here, we do have quarter-sized hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds pushing off to the north towards Syracuse still. The tight couplet. Yeah, I mean, it definitely was a tighter couplet back over here. To go back in the velocities. Right there on that north side. It was definitely a tighter couplet, which is since kind of occluded and kind of died off there. We still have a little bit of rotation back in this region, but a lot of that is side lobe. Right in here could be a little bit legitimate, though. Yeah, could be legitimate rotation right there in that area, traveling off towards 16. It does seem like that tornado happened in a field, though. Hopefully it didn't impact any houses there. We did just get a new severe thunderstorm warning now for Nebraska City. 60-mile-per-hour winds, hail of 0.75 inches is going to be possible there. And then over with this storm here, we have a severe thunderstorm warning with 60-mile-per-hour winds pushing off to the east towards Oak Hill and Clay Center. Need to be indoors and away from windows. Where do you go? What do you mean? Anything for central Illinois could eventually, yeah, could eventually get some severe weather. Down the line with this thing. I think your main day is going to be tomorrow, though. Chicago look for tomorrow. Looks pretty good. I mean, some severe weather is going to be possible. Some damaging winds. Some quarter-sized hail and above. But not really talking about much more than that right now. It seems like the main threat with some of these storms tomorrow is going to be kind of in this region here. With a little bit of an MCS that could develop. But you can't rule out some isolated severe weather up there near the Chicago area. Yeah, this little cell on the south side here is trying to get reorganized. Seems like any kind of merger that kind of pops up in this thing is going to have that tendency to rotate. Starting to see some new circulation kind of form here on the bottom side of this, pushing off to the east. Where I get my alerts from? It's the anonymous person makes it. It's got a new severe thunderstorm warning for Ottawa County. That's going to be this one right here, 60-mile-per-hour winds heading towards T-Scott, Minneapolis, and Bennington. That's Minneapolis, Kansas. Wouldn't be surprised if this one tried to become tornadic here, and that would eventually be a threat for like Wheaton, Onaga, Neuchâtel, Neuchâtel. Not really sure. Looks like we do have an area here of some broader circulation. I'm watching right here for the potential for some tightening of that circulation. Definitely got a little bit of a supercell action happening here with that rain wrapping around on the backside. We'll have to see what ends up happening. Let's go check back over here near Columbus where we have these storms still trying to fire off. Still looking like a mess. Looks like that earlier convection kind of sapped the energy out in front of them. Wow, look at this view from Tornado Pagey. Oh, well, it was a better view a moment ago, but that service is kind of giving out again. See if we can get a little bit better resolution. It's just not going to happen. There's definitely something back in there, though. A little bit of a supercell. Yeah, this thing's really starting to wrap up here. I'm starting to become a little bit more concerned. Given the kind of semi-discreet look of this storm here. All right, BB, thank you for tuning in. I do appreciate it. Have a good rest of your night. And you can really tell in that latest scan, this southern storm is really trying to wrap up here. Be an area of stronger rotation up there. Trying to develop near Blaine. Main area I'm watching is right in this part of the storm, though. Still no debris ball here on the radar, but if you live in Blaine, I continue to seek shelter as this southern storm is continuing to develop a little bit more rotation. There could be a little bit of a hail core
A
in
new
there.
tornado warning has been issued.
So they just extended this tornado warning here. A little bit further to the east. We'll see where that ends up going. We're going to include Onaga. Yeah. It is including Onaga, Wheaton, and New Chatel. You guys need to be going into your safe spots here. Again, your safe spot is the lowest, most interior room of your house. As many walls in between you and the outside as humanly possible. A tornado shelter or a basement that is underground. Yeah, I already retweeted that, RG5. But thanks for sending that in. Was hit St. Joseph. Most likely, let me see where St. Joseph is. Yeah, it does seem to be in the realm of possibilities. I don't think the tornado threat's going to be nearly as high as that approaches there, but definitely could still have some damaging winds.
A new PDS severe thunderstorm warning has been issued.
New PDS severe thunderstorm warning has been issued in Kansas. Guessing that's going to be for this storm. See where that ends up being. Place. Oh, that's going to be for this one. Interesting. Wow. Really? 80-mile-per-hour winds with that little scraggly guy. That's very interesting. Galva, Canton, and Mound Ridge all need to be going into their safe spots here. We have 80-mile-per-hour winds on this storm right now. You guys need to be going into your safe spots there. That could definitely cause some power outages and some pretty destructive. It's a pretty destructive storm. I mean, it could knock over some bigger trees, cause some power outages. Maybe this could be like some sort of microburst that's happening out here. So just watch out. Definitely a potent storm if they're getting indications that this thing has 80-mile-per-hour winds on it, which is wild. Let me see if we have like a confirmed warning. Like any sort of report out of this. No report. Very interesting. Do a little zoomed out view. So they're going to let this previous tornado warning expire. Still seeing a decent little area of circulation back up in this region, which is kind of what that last one looked like when it produced. We have a couple little areas of circulation to its south as well. Still keeping an eye out there for Wheaton, Neuchâtel, and Onaga. Please continue to be in your safe spots there. Nebraska City, your storm is approaching there with 60-mile-per-hour winds. That'll be making it into Nebraska City here shortly. Let me see. I got any cameras on that one near Nebraska City? One north of Nebraska City. Let me see if it shows anything. Thank you, Baked Potato, for gifting 5 memberships. I do appreciate that. If you guys get a membership from Baked Potato, make sure that you are thanking her in the chat. That is a huge help out to the channel. Thank you. Still waiting on the latest scan to come in here on this tornado warning. See if we got any reports, any more reports coming in on this. It seems like Tornado Page is pretty close to this storm right now. You can kind of just see it popping up on the right side of the screen right before her service went down. Definitely an impressive looking storm. Fortunately, we don't have any clear views, but it is what it is. Fortunately, we just don't have any storm chasers out there with decent service. Might try to hit up Ben. See if he'd be interested in some sort of collaboration. But I don't think I have time for that. So just radar coverage mainly today. 80 miles per hour by Train Spotter McPherson. Yep. Yeah, this one is still warned for 80-mile-per-hour winds. Again, if you live in Galva, Canton, and Mound Ridge, you guys need to be in your safe spots there. I do want to see if I can find if there's any cameras in that region. It'd be worth investigating that. If you have a view of something north of Wichita. Yeah, this one's underneath it, but it's not live. This is what it looks kind of on the northern portion of that storm. Definitely windy. A little bit of flood popping up there. Do you have a camera down the line? Yeah, it's not working. Man, none of these cameras in Kansas are working today. Yeah, I don't like the fact that this is a pretty discrete supercell here. But so far, so good. Still not seeing any strong circulation along in there where that mesocyclone is right now. But it could certainly try to develop. I mean, we're starting to see a little bit more of a healthier inflow trying to work its way into the storm. We're mainly watching that southern side of the storm here. It's trying to wrap up. We're getting a little bit of a surge here, so we definitely got to watch for some increased rotation in this area here. I still want Wheaton in Onaga and Neuchâtel to be in their safe spots. Man, look at that. Look at that supercell. Holy moly. You can just tell. That thing is a beast. Wow. That is one heck of a storm. What a great time to get good service. Again, this is Tornado Pagey here on YouTube. And that is the tornado warned portion of the storm. You can see there's actually a little bit of broad circulation on that right side there. Let's listen in and see what the winds sound like too.
The whole thing's rotating. Yeah, the whole thing.
Oh my god, this is the most beautiful storm I've ever seen in my entire life. Holy F.
Holy F is right. That is a wild looking storm. Oh, wow. That was a close lightning bolt right there. This is the one spot in Kansas with good service. Yeah, it looks like a mothership. Wouldn't be surprised if we saw some aliens start to walk across the screen here. Yeah, that's that mesocyclone of the storm. If there was a tornado in there, it would be back probably within that rain.
God. This is literally crazy incredible. I can't even make this wide enough.
All right. Like the service is going down as soon as they move again. But hey, we got a little sneak peek of the storm there. And yeah, some broader circulation still exists within that portion of the storm. Still not tightening up just yet. Kind of seems like it's maybe trying to get that inflow going again. Again, this is a pretty discrete cell. The shear environment isn't that amazing, but if any storm is going to try to produce maybe a, try to produce a tornado again, it's going to be this one here. You see all those other circulations that were further to the north just kind of all falling apart. Let's go check back in on that 80-mile-per-hour windstorm that's happening over here. Yeah, looks like Canton just got that leading edge of the gust front. I would assume that's where those winds are. Could still have some gustier winds back here near Galva too, so just watch out for that. But we'll see if they extend that warning. Again, for a warning like that with the 80-mile-per-hour winds, you definitely want to be in your safe spots. We'll do a little bit of a broad picture view for parts of, or we'll zoom all the way out here just so people can get a reference of where their state is in relation to some of these warnings. Nope, looks like we got another view here from Pagey. Wow. This storm is super impressive. To be honest, I'd be definitely not holding it together if I was in that car.
Look at that.
That's where we want to be, right here.
Hell yeah.
There's definitely some circulation in there. You see it's rotating a little bit just above the camera, or just right there in the top part of the shot. We're going to keep an eye on our stream whenever it comes back. We'll hop back over there. Very impressive looking storm. Hopefully no more tornadoes happening with this, but we'll have to see. And there really isn't that much rotation on this thing. Even though it's more semi-discrete here, it's struggling. It's struggling. It might be behind some sort of outflow boundary here. That's kind of keeping it in check. But I mean, I still believe it could try to do something. We'll see. We just got to keep monitoring it. That area of rotation still exists right here in this region of the storm. Still a little bit on the weak and broad side, but still want Wheaton, Duluth, and Onaga to continue to be in their safe spots there. Wow, look at that rain out of this thing. That's big old blob of rain. Whoa! That was a loud lightning bolt. Another one. What the heck?
That legitimately.
Well, yep, still pretty spotty service, but at least we're getting some views. Yeah, that's this storm right here. Lots of cloud to ground lightning with this storm right now. Yeah, that rotation is starting to die off with this storm. This right here, that's just a bunch of side lobe contamination. But that right here in this region, that's where we're looking for that rotation to kind of get going. There's still a little bit of broad circulation in there pushing off towards Onaga. So we'll keep an eye on it. How's South Dakota looking? Still got some severe weather happening over here, over there near Cumberland, pushing down to the south and east towards Platte, Mitchell, Huron. Watertown could all eventually be in the path of some stronger thunderstorms out here, but it does seem like most of this storm is, not really a concern for anything but damaging winds at this point. Still monitoring these cells back over here. I've still got some thunderstorms back here, but they're still staying on that weaker side of things. Really think that threat's probably going to fall apart. Might still get some severe weather for Omaha, though. They downgraded this yet? Nope. We still got a destructive severe thunderstorm warning associated with this cell here, about to enter into Canton. So continue to be in your safe spots as that approaches. Again, those 80-mile-per-hour winds, man, you don't want to mess around with them. It's basically like a weak tornado on the entirety of that line. What happened to my time? It just completely stopped working. There we go. Yeah, I think this storm is starting to become outflow dominant. And if this one goes and we don't get another storm south of it, that's going to be it for the tornado threat. If this thing doesn't try to reorganize, again, a lot of side lobe contamination here. But that area of circulation would be in this area if there still existed, and you can see that rotation has almost completely died off there. So they're probably going to let that tornado warning expire here shortly, unless we get some sort of new area of rotation form. But it does seem like that outflow boundary is starting to surge out in front of it. Let's see if we have any more reports. I haven't been able to see I've seen pictures of a funnel. I guess it must have made ground contact there. People calling it a tornado. Wow. Holy moly. From far away, this thing looks even crazier. I just retweeted a photo of it. If you guys want to see it, I'll put my Twitter link in the chat. From far away, it just looks absolutely phenomenal. This is definitely a supercell and a half. Or was. Probably isn't much so anymore. Yeah, still seeing that rotation peter out with this thing. See, we got this inflow right here. All of this mess, that's all side lobe contamination there in the inflow. So still seeing this storm get weaker and weaker, thankfully. And there's just not much to say with a lot of these storms. Been a relatively quiet day, other than that one tornado. And this storm down here, surprisingly, with those 80-mile-per-hour winds, was not expecting that to happen today. About to push into Canton now. Must have been, definitely, it must have been some sort of microburst down there. That's what I'm thinking. Some sort of microburst. Kind of what happened to me not too long ago. That storm looks like a leg. This one? I don't see it. Hey, thank you, Terry, for the $40 on Cash App. Thank you so much. There's a huge help out to the channel. Thank you. You guys have been extremely generous today. We haven't really reached too many people in the path of these storms. But you know, I think we did our job so far. So I do appreciate you guys keeping the lights on even when the streams don't do that well. So thank you. You're in the path. Well, there you go. We helped one person with warnings. That's good. Also, a huge shout out to Baked Potato for being a member for 8 whole months. Well, you're almost at that year mark. Yeah, still waiting to see if we can get maybe a storm try to form a little bit further to the south. Might try to see some new circulation form down here. We'll see. Is this live or is this frozen? Nope, that's live. Okay, looks like she's got another view here of the storm. See if anything comes out of it. Not really much of a wall cloud on this thing.
Because in Wheaton, we're going to have to shoot south because the road doesn't continue east. So that's what it looks like.
Yeah, because this thing is, it's gonna, like, it's wrapping up.
Keep an eye on it. Will the storm hold together all the way to Sedgwick County? Let me check that. Sedgwick County. Spelled it wrong. Sedgwick County's not popping up. Maybe a city or a zip code would help. How's my stomach? Stomach's feeling great. Yeah, latest scan here. Maybe a little bit of rotation. Try to pop back up on this thing. But the scan after that, it just disappeared. So, again, that's where your area of rotation would be. Also, watching back in there, there's nothing. This thing still is not exhibiting any concerning rotation at this moment. At least on radar. Trying to get some on-the-ground views here so we can see what's happening with it. Yeah, stomach's doing great. I haven't had any resurgence of any problems. So, still doing good. All right, listen, they did downgrade this warning east of McPherson. It's now at 70 miles per hour. Now pushing into Canton. After that's going to be Lehigh. So 70-mile-per-hour winds are still possible. Not destructive anymore, but still could cause some trees to go down. So I'd definitely still be indoors and away from windows on that storm. They're moving around you. You can see both severe storms and the sun. Interesting. That does happen sometimes. It does happen. Is a tornado potential dying for Kansas? Still monitoring this one storm, but it does seem like it's going outflow dominant. So very well could be talking about the very. I think we're at the very end of the tornado threat here. You know, it's supposed to be real brief. Might see maybe one of these storms try to do something, but we'll see what happens. Maybe this one back here could try to maybe do something. The outflow from this storm should cut it off from that instability. We'll see. We're good for Omaha then. Still think that there is a chance for severe weather. I just don't think it's going to be as bad as what was forecasted. We had some rain showers coming through that area that kind of sapped out the instability, but some of these guys could still become severe. I just think the tornado threat should be relatively low with those guys up there. You know, our main threat has been existing with these storms today, and I think that's just going to be how it is. But we'll see. Sedgwick County is Wichita. Gotcha. So Wichita does have some storms approaching. Nothing overly concerning with them just yet. Other than this one guy that produced some pretty damaging winds there, McPherson. But yeah, could see some lightning, maybe some heavier rain, maybe an isolated severe thunderstorm you can't rule out. But yeah, if this storm doesn't do anything, I think that's going to be it. It's one on the backside here. This one just seems to be kind of falling apart. We'll see if it can get its act back together. I mean, if it can tap back into that moisture and instability, then it might try to rotate again, but probably going to let that tornado warning, though, expire here shortly. Does a left split mean sometimes, you know, when you have some divergent flow aloft, you can get a storm split into two, kind of. And, you know, it does, it's kind of hard to say, but it's like one storm turns into two. Kind of the best way to think about it. Chaz is barking at nothing again. Very classic Chaz. Yeah, still not seeing anything pop up here on the latest scans. Still think the tornado warning is going to be allowed to expire. Left or right split? Usually it's the right split. Jesse Parks because he can. Yeah, he's got freedom of bark.
A new PDS severe thunderstorm warning has been issued.
Again, wow. What an impressive, weak-looking storm. This is the weakest but yet strongest storm I think I've ever seen. I mean, it just does not look impressive at all on radar. It's not some mesoscale convective system, but we've got another 80-mile-per-hour warning on this. Lehigh, Hillsboro, Marion, and Lincolnville now need to be in their safe spots. That's crazy. It's almost unbelievable. Yeah, you need to go into your safe spots there, as apparently this little tiny little squiggly line of a storm behind an outflow boundary has 80-mile-per-hour winds with it, which is surprising. Interestingly enough, though, we haven't gotten any damage report, or I might not have storm reports on. Let me turn on storm reports. I usually turn them off, but yeah, we had 280-mile-per-hour in there. McPherson, 80 miles per hour there. Estimated. Interesting. Estimated 70 to 80 mile per hour wind gusts. Transponder reported a power pole down on old Highway 81. That's interesting. Usually they don't warn storms off of estimates. That's weird. So I wonder if the newest, we'll probably see what that new report comes in as. Usually they wait for like METAR data to come in. Yeah, these storms are falling apart here, folks. This one back here is remaining outflow dominant. I think we're at the end of the tornado threat. What's the worst weather I've been in? Like personally, I mean, I've seen tornadoes, but the scariest storm I think I've ever been in was like 2 weeks ago. Literally had a microburst with 95 mile per hour winds just happen right over my house. That was scary. A little bit of something hanging down from this cloud here. What is that? Is that Scud?
Messy, but potential.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's got another view here. This is Tornado Paigey. She's live on YouTube. Female storm chaser doing it good today. Really giving us some good views of the storm. She definitely knows her stuff. I was wondering if she would go to Kansas. So a lot of people were saying Nebraska.
Entirely possible.
But she picked the right spot.
I got that funnel coming down.
Nice.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
did I get anything else?
Something on the left side. Like a lowering of some sort on the left side.
Woof. Ground scraper.
This is that storm that's tornado warned.
Was that when I almost got struck by lightning?
Is that video?
Yeah, I think so. Or when I got hit by the hail. Yeah, that was from the hail. That's literally fine.
There's definitely a low hanging portion of that on the left side of the screen there.
I need a drink of water. Damn, that hail hit me so hard.
On your hand?
Yeah, right in the crack of my finger. It was like the
Ooh,
perfect
ouch.
shot.
She's near Onaga, Kansas. She's in the. This is the tornado.
A new tornado
portion of the
warning
storm.
has been issued.
Oh wow. Yeah, look at that. It's got a new tornado warning, extending this off to the west. Over there near Onaga and Havensville, we are seeing a little bit of circulation. Try to redevelop. Kind of looks like a funnel. And that's way out in the inflow of the storm, though. I don't think that's it.
Gracias.
Where is this located in relation to the storm here?
That's why. That's nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's just not a whole lot of rotation. That might just be Scud, or maybe the radar is just not really picking it up too well. Looks
Do
ominous.
you mind if I hang out the window and video?
You can do it.
Yeah, definitely an SLC. I'm
Tumbleweave.
surprised they rewarned it.
Tumbleweave.
There's not a whole lot of rotation, at least on radar. You can kind of tell just by looking at it, the clouds really aren't moving in two different directions here. And that does kind of look like something back in there, though. There's a decent amount of movement with that stuff, but got some like outflow land spout action trying to happen, maybe.
think we'll be able to follow this road east?
16.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should. It's still slightly rotating right there in front of us.
I know, I see it. When I videoed it.
Slight rotation being reported.
Slightly.
Yeah, right there at the middle of the screen, kind of does seem like it's rotating a little bit. Off to the left, I'm not sure what that is. That could be like a wall cloud or...
Yeah. Did you get those?
I got a few, yeah.
Good.
Or could just be scud. It's hard to tell. There's a lot of rain wrapping around back in there.
Yeesh.
Definitely an interesting looking cloud, but if it's anything more than scud, it's hard to tell. Keep our eye on it. She'll be underneath me. I do want to take this big screen here and talk about this tornado warning again. But right back in here, this is where we're watching for some rotation to start developing. And as you can see, there's just nothing on radar. Near the surface, though, we're kind of getting some little mini circulations along the leading edge. So I'm wondering if we got a little bit of a land spout threat developing here along that outflow boundary. But just not a whole lot of rotation. All this back over here. Over there near Onaga. Looks interesting, but, you know, when we come over here, unsmooth the radar, you can really tell that that is the inflow of the storm. So we're definitely getting some contamination in that area. The area where we would have potentially a tornado with this thing would be back up in here, and there's just not a whole lot of rotation there. So Onaga and Havensville needs to be in their safe spots, but I'm just not seeing anything to be that sticks out to me on radar, which is why we're trying to pay close attention here to Pagey's view of the storm.
You going east?
We're done.
See if we see anything that the radar is not showing us. And so far, it kind of lines up. It looks like they're going to be running into service issues again as they reposition. I do want to see if we have any cameras, at least near like Holton, maybe. Probably not. That one. Yeah. Pretty sure all these cameras are down, yeah. Might be able to get some camera views out of Topeka eventually. This thing makes it all the way out there, but it's going to be north of that, unfortunately. So we'll see. I doubt we'll see much from those. I mean, we might be able to catch that southern portion near Manhattan. We'll keep our eye on it. See if we can't get some better views of the storms, but
I mean, there's a bunch of roads up here. If you want to take them, we can work with the grid.
Alright, let's take it.
I don't know how they look.
There hasn't rained all weekend.
Yeah. I mean, there's a bunch of roads up here. If you want to take them, we can work with the grid.
Alright, let's take it.
I don't know.
mute these guys again. A little interesting area back up in here north of Duluth. Just kind of popped up here. Seems legitimate. There's an area of precipitation up in this region here. I have to keep an eye on that. North of Duluth near New Shadow, pushing off to the east. A backwards hook? Not really. What this is kind of indicating is that we kind of have an RFD on this side of the storm. Probably some stronger winds back in there, but no area of circulation there, but potentially some developing here on the northern portion of the storm. If I play this in motion, you can see that's kind of in the area where a lot of these rotations try to pick up at. And it's usually a little bit broader near the hook, but it's hard to tell whether those are legitimate signals or just side lobe up there, but we'll keep our eye on it. Regardless, Onaga, Havensville, and New Chattel there in Kansas still need to be in their safe spots. I do want to check back up with these storms. Yeah, these storms are just not doing it, thankfully. Still struggling up there further to the north. Yeah, this thing is still warned here for 80-mile-per-hour winds. We got 60-mile-per-hour wind reports in Canton. It's pushing towards Hillsboro, Marion, and Lincolnville. Damage report over here. Large trees uprooted and some structural damage. And there's debris in the field. Just put a warning on this part of the storm for 60-mile-per-hour winds. Westmoreland has rotation? No, that's in the clear air. It's just broad circulation right now. That's side lobe. Side lobe contamination. You can see clear air slot right there. Contamination's right in that clear air. And there you go. Latest scan, it's gone because it wasn't legitimate. Maybe a little bit more circulation popping up in this part of the storm. As a latest scan, still kind of on the weak side, at least where the mesocyclone, the main mesocyclone would be of this. Well, interesting area still back up in here. If that was a legitimate signal, we would have a tornado on the ground. It's just not really in the right area of the storm. Thank you, Mojo, the Rising, for subscribing. I do appreciate it. Where's Tornado Pagey? She's just out in front of this storm here, probably north of Onaga. So when this warning ends, am I going to end? Yeah, most likely. I don't really see a tornado threat after this storm. I'll probably end and continue to monitor it, but, I doubt I'll have to go back live. I'll be watching it, though, just in case something surprising happens. Pagey has an apocalyptic view. A little bit so, yeah, it looks a little apocalyptic, but just some dark. Well, it's basically just some clouds blocking out the light there. A lot of movement in that area on the left side of the screen here. Looks like it's rotating back in there, even though the quality here is kind of suffering. Might be a little bit of rotation in there still. Keep an eye on that. Does seem like it's trying to form a new inflow. Right in there. There's your inflow. Rain wrapping around back in there, and all this here is just a bunch of contamination. There in the clear air. Maybe something over here near Duluth. A weird signal over here in Beckerville as well. It's most likely hail. Kind of interesting there. Do want to investigate this area north of Duluth. Okay, that's clear air. Just making sure. Am I feeling better? Yeah, I'm feeling much better. Thank you. Thank you for asking. Scud clouds. Yeah, most likely a lot of scud clouds around this storm right now. What we're watching for is to see, if we can actually see like any wall clouds or like a mesocyclone out of this storm. I'm watching her feet on the side here. I'm not really seeing anything that really sticks out. I mean, there is a little bit of subtle rotation in there, though, still. Especially along where that outflow boundary is. You see that cloud out in front of her is stationary, and the clouds behind it are moving to the left, indicating that there is some relative rotation with this still. Not really showing up on radar that much. Tornado hit the ground yet? Not any reports of that, as far as I can tell. Definitely a lot of movement underneath this area of the storm. On the left side, there's definitely some apparent rotation back in that region. See how those clouds are moving on the left side there? Really fast motion. A lot of lightning too, my goodness. This thing's about to get a push from behind. Let's come back over to here. See, we got a storm about to kind of push into this. That'll either help it or hurt it. So far, though, still not seeing a whole lot of rotation in that little mesocyclone. Still relatively weak at this moment. And this whole thing's about to become outflow dominant. That's that outflow boundary trying to catch up to this area of the storm. Further north, not really seeing much. In terms of rotation, we do got some stronger winds back here. A little bit of an outflow dominated storm south of Shenandoah that's entering into Iowa. I'm actually surprised it's not severe warned. That seems like strong enough winds to at least issue a severe thunderstorm warning on it. Broad circulation here. I would call that broad rotation. Seems a little bit outflow dominant, but there is some broader rotation there. Focused on earthquakes at the moment. Well, tell us what's going on with the earthquakes out there. You had lightning so close it hit the house. Oh well. That's scary. Does outflow dominant mean? Outflow dominant means that the storm is kind of ingesting cooler, moist air instead of warmer, moist air. Thunderstorms really like that warmer, moist air. And colder, that cooler, moist air definitely kind of chokes off the updraft and really prevents tornado genesis. So once that cooler, moist air really starts to surge out in front of this thing, which it probably is already, we're just seeing some rotations, probably smaller rotations than what this radar is picking up, kind of exist along the leading edge. But so far, nothing has touched down there. It's kind of like a land spout threat along that outflow boundary right now. Just got done with a walk in Kansas. Yeah, I can only imagine your face. That is for sure. All right, let's come back down to here. Looks like they have downgraded this severe thunderstorm warning back down to 70 miles per hour. Still a pretty strong storm. I would definitely be indoors and away from windows there in Marion and Lincolnville, but not as strong as a storm as it was, thankfully. Probably could still cause some power outages with those 70-mile-per-hour winds, though. More like a lightning event. Yeah, damaging winds, lightning would still be possible even if this goes outflow dominant. And you can really see that boundary pretty easily there. And there's that area of rotation, subtle rotation still with this storm. So, we really don't have much more time. Once that gets outflow dominant, I really don't see it doing too much. Going to check back in on this broader circulation. Yeah, we got a little MCS starting to form, or MCV here, a mesoscale convective vortex. Potentially trying to get started up here. You don't typically see tornadoes with those. There's a difference between a land spout and a tornado. Typically, land spouts don't happen associated with a supercell. They happen along some sort of boundary. It's like an outflow boundary, or sometimes but they're like associated usually with thunderstorms in a way, but not with a mesocyclone. Not really happening near the updraft of the storm. Will Southeast Kansas get anything tonight? It's possible, yeah. I mean, there's some scattered showers potentially trying to make it towards you. Scattered showers and thunderstorms. As this storm approaches, we might be able to get a view on this storm near Topeka. I think that would be worth. Can't see anything with that camera. Nothing with that one. What about further down the line here? That one doesn't have a view of the sky. I mean, we have some cameras in this area. We might end up seeing something eventually. Storm's a little bit too far away from the cameras that have live feeds, though. Lightning is crazy sometimes in the Midwest, especially in the transition. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you get a big old thunderbolt nearby. Oops. You get a big old thunderbolt nearby. It can be pretty scary. A little bit of an anticyclonic circulation starting to form over in this region here. Kind of interesting. But in terms of who needs to still be in their safe spots, at least with this circulation, Onaga is fine. Havensville still wants you to be in your safe spots. Wheaton should be good, although you do have some stronger winds coming towards you on the backside of this storm. Yeah, I think that outflow boundary is hitting that mesocyclone right now. You can even see it on radar. It extends pretty much right here in this area. So we're probably about to see whatever is left of this storm really start to kind of die off here. Maybe a last moment as the storm latches onto that boundary. A little area of circulation pop up here north of Onaga. A little tiny area of circulation there. Let me see if that's associated with reflectivity. We'll come over here, non-smoothed. There's a little bit of reflectivity there. That could be legitimate rotation there. A little bit concerning there, just to the east of Duluth. Just a quick spin up. If we go back in the scan before that, you can see there really wasn't much. But there is definitely something there. North of Onaga, be in your safe spots. As that kind of pushes towards Havensville and America City. Wow. Also, just got a new severe thunderstorm warning a little bit further to the south for Wamego and Emmett. You guys need to be indoors and away from windows. 60-mile-per-hour winds could be possible eventually with those southern storms. Strong anticyclonic. Whoa. That might be a tornado there on the latest scan. Sneaky rotation. There's something popping up there. It's just not definite enough for me to be able to say with 100% certainty there. Latest scan, though, still has something. Hold on, let me just line these up. Yeah, the velocities are a minute behind. It might be a brief tornado south and east of Wheaton. South of 16. It's kind of hard to tell, though. Not really the most convincing debris ball signature here. Yeah, and then our latest velocities. Yeah, it would have the debris signature would have had to have been down there, but it's not. Okay, so I don't think that's a tornado. It might have just been some side lobe contamination. I don't think that was a debris ball. No, I had to wait for the velocities to catch up to everything, but a little area of circulation still exists down there. Still associated with precipitation. I mean, I wouldn't let your guard down with that south of Duluth. Anticyclonic. Anticyclone? No, this is not anticyclone. That's cyclonic. We got some anticyclonic rotation here, but it's in the clear air, so we're definitely dealing with some side lobe contamination with these spots of the storm. So that's not anticyclonic. I mean, it probably is, but it's on the broader side of stuff, and it's in the clear air. So we're definitely getting some sort of contamination out of this area of the storm. You know, the part of the storm that's warned though is this area here, and there's really not a whole lot of rotation there right now. Side lobe. It's not side load. It's side lobe contamination, and essentially it just means that you're getting a signal back that's indicating some rotation that is not particularly accurate. We call it like a dirty picture. You know, you look for like a clean picture of a storm. So you can see those velocities really well, but when it's a little bit dirty, and you have some sort of what's the word? Signal that's like it's out of place and in the clear air. It's Most of the time is side lobe contamination. Will Palestine, Illinois be okay on Thursday? Yeah, everybody's going to be fine tomorrow. But definitely some severe weather is going to be possible. What's going on in chat? Everybody's putting bacon emojis in chat. Y'all are making me hungry. Could this move towards Topeka? Yeah, it's possible. Your storm, you're either going to thread the needle here and barely get anything, or you might catch a storm, and it would have to develop. And this line of storms here would have to continue to develop further down to the south. Definitely wouldn't rule out a storm with 60-mile-per-hour winds. Looks like they're extending the severe thunderstorm warning for Weasley, or Wilsey, and County Council Grove for 60-mile-per-hour winds. Older bacon. I'm gonna eat in. I don't even think my stomach can handle bacon. I'm still kind of on a ulcer diet, just playing it safe so it completely heals. It's got a new considerable severe thunderstorm warning. That's probably going to be for 70 miles per hour. Let's see where that is. Somewhere in Kansas. Might be extending this one on the southern side, or they could be putting that down for these storms. We'll have to see. Yeah, on the southern side of this warning, they're putting 70-mile-per-hour wind warning. That's going to be for Heimer, Kansas. Do you want to check back in with that developing MCV circulation? Yeah. Okay. Tornado going to reach Missouri? No. Now, this thing's becoming outflow dominant. We're pretty much witnessing with our eyeballs here this tornado threat try to die out here. Still getting some brief little areas of circulation back in the backside of this storm. I'm just not sure how legitimate those signals are. None of them have produced like convincing debris balls or anything, but we do have two little areas of circulation. One there, actually three. You technically say four there. And you know, those aren't really in the clear air, so little areas of rotation are existing within this storm right now. Just not sure how legitimate those signals are. Could be contaminated a little bit, but I'm watching them. Yeah, the latest scan, all those areas are gone, so jeez Louise. Everybody's talking about bacon in chat. Y'all need to stop. I'm getting hungry. Calm down. I have to ban the word bacon just so I don't starve to death while streaming. All right, yeah, you can clearly see now that outflow boundary has surged ahead of the mesocyclone. I think we just witnessed the end of the main portion of this tornado threat. Just want to check on these storms near Omaha. Yeah, some gustier winds are definitely about to start pushing into Omaha. Some rain, maybe some thunder up there. They might still have some capabilities of becoming severe, but definitely a very low
new tornado warning
chance with
has
that.
been issued.
And they're still extending this warning. That is crazy. Why? I guess you could say it's a little area of circulation, but not really. I'm not seeing any concerning rotation in this thing. And there's a bunch of side lobe contamination crap up here, but that's not legitimate. I don't know why they extended that warning. There's not a whole lot of rotation on this right now. Jeez Louise, look at Paige's view, though. This might be why. Still some low clouds in this thing. Report of a wedge 7 minutes ago? Ow. That's not a wedge. It's just a hill in front of a big old scud cloud. There's definitely not a wedge in here, I'll tell you that. Yeah, I just looked at it. That's not a wedge. That's what Paige is looking at. Paige is actually close to that feature. It's just a lowering of the cloud. And the guy there's a hill right there. If there's any other reports though, if find any other photos, let me know. But I mean, I know that's what Paige is looking at right now, and it's just a lowering, potentially a wall cloud there. On radar, there's just no areas of rotation anywhere along this line. So that might be what happened. Somebody false reported a tornado, and now we got an extension. Yeah, there's a lowering, but again, lowerings don't mean tornadoes all the time. Actually, the majority of the time they don't. They just mean, a lowered base closer to the ground. If there's rotation, then you got to be worried with a lowering for a tornado. But this storm does not really have any rotation on it right now. We'll keep monitoring it, see if something pops up. But there might still be like a little bit of a land spout threat with this along the outflow boundary. I wouldn't be surprised if we got like a report of like a land spout, maybe. But on radar, there's no discernible rotation along the leading edge of this at all. This up here is not legitimate rotation. Again, that is side lobe contamination up there. But down here, further to the south, I mean, it's just an outflow boundary. It's clear as day, no rotation on radar. And we're pretty close to the radar. It's not like we're far away. Looks like we're getting another view here from Tornado Pagey. See if we can still see that lowering. Man, the lightning on this storm is pretty impressive. It's almost nonstop. Hey, Mr. Top Fans in. Think you're doing all right. Yeah, not seeing that lowering anymore. Little notch. No, there's no rotations anywhere. Again, we're watching. It has to be associated with reflectivity. And within that area, there's nothing. They're gonna let that. They should have let the tornado warning expire the last time, but they're keeping it going because we probably got a report of a large tornado on the ground. But it was just a hill. It was a hill and a lowering. It wasn't a tornado. So that's probably why they issued it, but they said radar indicated just to cover all bases, just in case it was something. But I mean, Paige was looking right at it, and it's just a lowering. I've been doing good, Trying to adjust to the slower schedule. Also, we're starting to get severe thunderstorm warnings up here. For 60-mile-per-hour winds, that's going to be for Clarinda, College Springs here in Iowa. Burlington Junction, Skidmore, and Maitland there in northern Missouri. So we might have Paige's view back. It's like she's in some heavier rain. Let's kind of listen in if we can. And there it goes. We got a little bit. Man, that is so annoying. Every time I like come down here, it keeps on showing Max Velocity's thumbnail. It's like, what the hell, man? And that's annoying. I don't know why YouTube is doing that. That's super annoying. Yeah, still nothing's changed. No rotation on this storm. Not concerned. Just waiting. Wow, what a time lapse. That is incredible. Just retweeted an amazing time lapse of that mesocyclone of this storm, the mothership. Wow. Just retweeted it. You face on my thumbnail this time. Yeah, it turns out that it wasn't a good idea. Wasn't really a good idea. Probably one of the lowest click-through rates I've ever had. Oh my gosh. Chat. You guys are still going on about the bacon. I have to start timing some of you guys out for spam and bacon. I'm now even more hungry. Yeah, these storms are definitely packing some stronger winds of up to 60 miles per hour. I would certainly be indoors and away from windows, but there's not a tornado in there right now. Yeah, that's a very good time lapse. You don't really see time lapses like that too often. Broccoli, I like broccoli though too. There's no more food items in chat. You are making me hungry. Just got an extension of kind of a blanket severe thunderstorm warning now with this storm. That's going to be for Wabani, St. Mary's, and Wetmore. You guys need to be indoors and away from windows. So got some little storms trying to develop over here near Greenfield as well. This might become severe eventually near Creston and Winterset. Keep an eye on those. Got some rain moving into Omaha. See, it's been developing on this little stalled boundary here. No rotation on it, but some heavier rain, some wind. Maybe a little bit of a flood threat if that stalls out. Oh, looks like the clock done died on us again. There we go, much better. Will the strong city storm get a tornado warning? Or strong city? No. Does have some pretty gusty winds though. You know, 70-mile-per-hour winds could be possible with this, but as you can see, it very outflow dominated line. That one's not going to go tornado warned. The sheer environment down in this area just isn't. The tornado chances are pretty much near zero, but you know, same with these storms. They're becoming outflow dominant as well, so we're going to see that tornado threat pretty much go way down from here on out. Yeah, no problem, Texas lady. Thank you for tuning in. Let's go back over here to Paigey. Really hoping we can do a raid before she ends her stream. We'll do that once this tornado warning expires. I mean, they should let this thing expire any moment. There is no reason why this thing should still be warned here. And they still continued it. What are you guys? Why would you continue this warning? That is wild. There is zero rotation. They should have just let it expire then. It's all right. It's just, I mean, there's no major cities left in the path of the storms. Like Havensville can come out of their safe spots. It's just whoever lives over here near 62 and 16. Also, a new severe thunderstorm warning down here for Newton. It's going to be for 60 miles per hour and also Sedgwick as well. Be indoors and away from windows on that one. I'm going to do a little bit more of a broader view so everybody can see their storms again. Used to, weather gaming, used to. We had our differences of opinions. And y'all must have not eaten dinner or something. I don't know why y'all are coming in to my chat with your hungry energy. You're making me hungry. I got stuff to do. Can't be thinking about food right now. I'm a little busy. Tuna sandwich sounds actually good. They're wrapping the local forecast. Yeah, I mean, this storm really doesn't have anything concerning on it. Doesn't surprise me. Well, maybe I take that back. We might be getting a little something start to develop in this region, actually. Very last scan. It's not concerning. There's a little something something over there south of American City. Is that kind of looks like contamination of some sort? So I'll keep my eye on it, but it looks contaminated to me. It'll probably disappear next scan. Anything looking scary? There's a little bit of a brief circulation. Most likely is contamination, but I just want to wait one more scan to make sure it's not. Ooh. What you whining about? Not time to eat yet. Mm-mm. You got to be patient. It's not time. You still got 30 minutes. Go distract yourself with something. Now y'all got Chaz hungry too. He's been reading chat. He's like, I'm trying to behave, but everybody in chat's talking about food. It's still there as of this latest scan, but there goes that tornado warning. It's pretty weak though, but there we go. All right, guys. I think that tornado threat's on the low end. I'll continue to watch the radar, but I'm gonna hop off here. We're gonna raid Paigey, Tornado. I can't guarantee that her live stream will be up, but please do me a favor. Just give her a like and a subscribe. She's been a huge help out to the channel today, giving us views here and there. So go over there, give her just a little bit of support, send her a nice message in chat. And so just stay tuned on the stream if you want to raid and help support another creator here on YouTube. But you guys have a wonderful rest of your night. Thank you again for your very generous donations today. And I will see you guys on the next one. Also, huge shout out to everybody that has liked and subscribed during the stream. And we will see you guys maybe tomorrow. We'll see. See you guys then.